Should we we've been doing the top 100 list. We've been breaking down every position. We've been dissecting their list. We're doing quarterbacks today, and I threw it out to the group a couple hours ago that looking at the quarterback list, there's not a lot of mistakes here if we do the same thing we've been doing where it's like the old guys don't touch them. So we're going to do two things. We're going to talk about the list. So the list is as such. Joe Montana. So these are actually, let me do the old guys first. Johnny Unitas, Otto Graham, Sammy Baugh, Roger Staubach.
Crazy stat about Sammy Baugh that not many people realize. In 1 year, he led the league. I think it was in touchdowns, interceptions, and punting.
I love it. He did it all. Mm-hmm. So those are the old guys. So we're not touching them. Then the new guys are Joe Montana, Tom Brady, John Elway, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Dan Marino. Looking at this list, I have no issue with it.
Nope.
If you have to do the old guys, I have no issue with it. So what I said was we should do our top 10 quarterbacks, rank them from 1980 on. And that's what we're going to do.
Let's do it.
So start debate.
This could get contentious.
Hank, would you like to start with your top 10?
I would love to.
Okay.
Just rattle them off?
Yeah, do it in order. Top 10. And then we'll figure out where we disagree. I think we'll agree on a few things.
Well, this is my personal list.
Well, it's all of our personal
correct.
lists.
Actually,
my list is CDC approved.
My number one, Tom Brady. No debate there.
Do you have Tom? Let's do it this way. Let's go around like your ones. Does everyone have Tom Brady 1?
I did have Tom Brady.
I have Tom Brady 1 as well.
Mo Lewis 1A.
Tom Brady is 1.
Joe Montana 2.
I have Joe Montana 2.
Also.
Blake Bortles number 3.
Okay, come on, do it for real. But yeah, Blake is obviously.
I said in the beginning, it's my personal quarterback list in the last 20 years.
We're gonna get to this with Perk later, but is this the best or the greatest?
This is the greatest. This is
greatest.
How I feel.
Right,
if I'm thinking, I was rattling my brain and I was
like,
what quarterbacks are the greatest?
All right. So I disagree on 3. Let's do it piece by piece. So we'll disagree. So I have Peyton Manning as my 3rd.
I also had Peyton Manning.
Okay, so PFT and I have the same list so far.
Drew Brees.
I do not have Drew
4.
Brees as my number 4.
I did not have him.
The thing with Dan Marino and Steve Young, I have them on here, but I just didn't see them. So it's tough. Okay. I don't want to be you got to put them on the list when it's like I've literally never watched them play a game.
Okay.
Right. Most people only know them from their appearances. A part of my take. Dan Marino would not be on this list. Blake Bortles and Jared Goff would be 1 and 2.
Baker Mayfield,
Baker
Jared
Mayfield,
Goff.
yeah.
What is your 4, PFT?
Aaron Rodgers.
What?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron
Rodgers is on the list?
is
Yes.
4?
Aaron Rodgers is. Yes. Have you ever watched him play?
Yes,
All right,
but
easy,
he's not.
Skip.
No, 4?
Yes, he's 4.
Oh,
you should know better than I
do. No, his career's not over, and he's like no.
I mean, if that's I've got several players whose career.
Well, I have a couple I have number 4. I have Dan Marino.
But Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback that I've ever seen in terms of like the throws he can make, everything that he can do. Now, granted, the last couple years, not as great, but in his prime, like those 4, 5, 6 years. The Packers were never out of a game. It didn't matter who was playing wide receiver for him. They didn't have a running back, basically.
How about Dan Marino? Never had a defense. Dan Marino. I'm giving Dan Marino his. I was looking at it, and I don't have Aaron Rodgers till number 7. But I have him on my list. But Dan Marino deserves more credit than he gets. I know we all make the jokes, but he was fucking insane.
So you and I flip-flop because I had Marino 7.
Okay, so Dan Marino had 5 years where I'll look up Aaron Rodgers. Dan Marino had 5 years where he was led the league in passing. Dan Marino was like Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes when you're talking about his second year in the league when he had 48 touchdowns in an NFL 1984. He had 48 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, which is fucking ridiculous. And who's your number?
Real
5?
quick, I've actually wondered this about Dan Marino. Maybe you can help me out because to me, he doesn't have any signature moments or games where I think
that year.
I think that's the Dan Marino game. With Aaron Rodgers,
what about the fake spike?
Fake spike. There you go. Okay, thank you for helping me out with
fake
that.
Spike.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers has never led the league in passing. He's never led the league in passing. He has an insane TD to interception ratio. I'll give you that. And he led the league in touchdowns once. Dan Marino led the league in passing 5 times and touchdowns 3 times. So Dan Marino's 1984 season, when they went 14-2, he had 48 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, and this is in the NFL that obviously is not what the NFL is today, and 64% completion percentage. He was Patrick Mahomes.
He was very good. I'm not trying to take away from Dan Marino as a player. I just think that Aaron Rodgers, from what I've seen from him, probably like the most impressive arm talent on this list.
But then he should win more.
They do win a lot.
He should
they just
win
haven't
more.
won in the playoffs.
He should
much.
win more.
Wait. If you're saying he should win more, I'm pretty sure his record over his career. What's his win percentage compared to Dan Marino? Because like you can't knock Aaron Rodgers not winning enough.
No,
Super
I'm just
Bowls
saying that
then have Dan Marino.
If he's the most impressive guy, like I think at some point you also have to like back it up with winning a shitload too.
I mean, they have won a shitload.
And they won one Super Bowl.
But they've won a lot.
Okay. I have Aaron Rodgers on my list. I just think Dan Marino, especially like his numbers when you look at him throughout his entire career, is fucking insane.
All right, Hank, who you got next?
My number 5, Brett Favre.
Okay.
I got no problem with that.
I have Elway at 5.
I also had Elway at 5.
So the one thing with Elway, which is kind of more to my Dan Marino point, and I guess it would be to Aaron Rodgers that, if you have a better defense. But Elway, the crazy thing about Elway's career, he went to 3 Super Bowls before he won one, and he was basically like carrying that team. Then at the end of his career, he gets an all-time running back and a good defense, and they win 2 Super Bowls, and the history of Elway is written completely different.
Yep.
So I looked at it. He went his first 15 playoff performances. He had 11 out of 15 he threw for over 225 yards. His last 7 playoff games, which were the 2 Super Bowl runs, he threw over 225 yards one time. So it's like if Dan Marino had the ability of having a defense in Terrell Davis at the end of his career, it could be totally different.
Do you think that do you think that John Elway would have drafted John Elway? Because I don't think that he would. Well, he was only 6'3".
He said he was going to go play for the Yankees.
215.
Yeah.
Problem. So that red flag in John Elway's eyes. I think that also, like in those Super Bowls, John Elway, his defense was dog shit in a couple of them. I think the Redskins put up 28 points in the second quarter.
No, absolutely.
So it's not on him that they lost those Super Bowls.
That's what I'm saying. John
Elway was an awesome quarterback. If you ever saw him scramble, he's like, maybe some people out there have seen more of Steve Young than of John Elway, but John Elway was a better Steve Young before Steve Young was in the NFL.
That's kind of my point, though, is that like John Elway and Dan Marino kind of had the same. I mean, obviously Dan Marino only went to 1 Super Bowl, but they had similar careers up until John Elway. Like if it's just such a hard thing to judge quarterbacks when you throw it like everything in there, and you're like, oh yeah, the defense obviously matters a lot, and like you could play that game with anyone. You could play it with Peyton Manning if he had a better defense, or you could play it the reverse way. Like if Rex Grossman didn't, fumble the ball and the Broncos didn't have an unbelievable defense, could he have 0? So it's a what if sliding door game. All right, number 6.
Real quick, I had one more thing with John Elway.
Yeah.
So the drive. So he had engineered the drive. We've got the drive, we've got the catch, we've got the fumble. How many more different plays have yet to be named like really, really simply like that? Has there been like the interception?
The kick?
The kick. We don't have the kick yet, do we?
We have the kick 6.
Got kick
Alabama,
6.
Auburn.
We got the double. We don't have the kick yet.
Right.
No. I was thinking of the kicking game.
Yeah.
The punt. We don't have the punt. Do we have the punt return?
Oh yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that's the punt return.
Yeah. Okay. The kick return might be Hester actually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
you're right.
To start the Super Bowl, that's pretty crazy. I mean, I think you probably have to win the Super Bowl to have that be cemented.
We've got the tackle against the Rams, the Titans-Rams Super Bowl.
Yep. All right, Hank, you're number 6.
Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that one.
It's a crazy one.
It is crazy.
Also,
his career's not done.
The story has not been. Ben Roethlisberger has the worst QBR for a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
He also has twice as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's true.
That's also true.
I was about to do it, but I was like, but we did our prime numbers on Monday.
But in that in that first Super Bowl that he got, he really didn't do shit.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'll actually look it up. It's
that
a very
season.
Funny. It's another case where it's hard to judge.
People say the same thing about Brady for his first one.
Well, no, this is the John Elway thing. John Elway's best years were not his Super Bowl years. Like he was very old at the end of he was still a very good quarterback, but it wasn't. Those weren't.
And Manning got carried to his second one too.
But Hank, imagine if Tom Brady won that first Super Bowl, then won another Super Bowl 6 years later, and nothing after that. Would you put him on this list?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta find this game. It's
well, but Ben
hilarious.
Roethlisberger also ran into a buzzsaw. Like you can't if you're playing the Patriots every season.
Because
like,
they played
it's not his fault.
That was smart to put him there. Then, yeah,
that was good. Yeah,
yeah.
You should have put him number 2 overall. Actually,
yeah,
he would be number 1 if it weren't for the Patriots.
Notice that Hank does not have Peyton Manning on his list yet. All right, so you have Ben Roethlisberger is your 6. I have Favre.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have Favre also.
Okay, so we
So
tied
the only
there.
thing we have different right now is Rodgers and Marino.
Yes. Okay, Hank, you're 7. Brett Favre winning 3 MVPs in a row is pretty crazy.
It is sick, and also
and he's just you think quarterback. He's
the gunslinger,
quick on in the
even though he
process.
did throw like 300 plus interceptions, which I'll happily point out.
That's part of the reason he's on this list is because he threw all those interceptions and was still awesome and was probably the most fun quarterback to watch.
Ben Roethlisberger in that Super Bowl win against the Seahawks, 9 for 21, 123 yards, 2 interceptions. That's awesome.
And the refs gave it to him too.
Dan Marino's got to watch that and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the refs should have been the offensive MVPs.
Yes. All right, you're number 7.
Marino.
Okay. Hey, PFT, you have Marino
I
as
have Marino
well.
7.
I have Rodgers as my 7. Okay. 8. It's kind of crazy that the Packers have 2 top 10 quarterbacks all time and they only have 2 Super Bowls to show for it. Just saying.
That is wild.
8, Steve Young.
Okay.
Interesting.
What's your 8?
I've got Drew Brees.
Same. So PFT and I pretty much have the same list except for the Marino Rodgers.
I think we're going to disagree with the next couple.
Okay.
Number 9, Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. Number 9.
Number 9, Russell Wilson.
Whoa. Okay.
Wilson.
Number 9, I have Steve Young.
Okay.
All right.
And my number 10, Pat Mahomes.
Same with me.
Same with me.
Yeah. So we all had Patrick Mahomes, number 10.
Was anybody else's 11 Troy Aikman?
11, I had Troy Aikman somewhere. He was somewhere around the list. Yeah, I had him thrown around. So wait, did you not have Steve Young?
I did not have Steve Young.
Okay, so you don't have 11 as Steve Young.
No. And
wow.
Wait, so which one of mine did you not have on the list?
I don't have Russell Wilson.
You don't have Russell Wilson on the list. Okay.
I do not have Russell Wilson.
What about if we were just to as a unit together, the most fun quarterbacks to watch?
Mike Vick would be number 1.
I'd have Favre 1, Vick 2. Jameis is making a late push, but there's not enough tape of him.
Jameis is pretty fun. Jameis is pretty
Phillip Rivers.
fun. Phil Rivers is definitely up there for fun quarterbacks. I'm trying to think of who else.
I mean, Manning was pretty fun when he was calling his own plays and just like spouting a bunch of nonsense.
Osweiler, Matt Schaub.
Matt Schaub was great that one year.
Matt Schaub was very fun.
I mean, Rex Grossman.
Yeah, I mean, it's just throw it deep. Just hope it works.
RG3 that one year.
Yeah. I mean, Lamar Jackson you could throw on the fun list. But all right, so we didn't disagree that much. I guess we should put these in a like quote board, Liam, Bubba, and we'll put it out there because I'm sure people will discuss. It's a good way to get people to discuss, just debate quarterbacks in the middle of the quarantine. But either way, I think they did a good job. So you think that the NFL 100 list, you actually have a problem with it because Aaron Rodgers should be on there instead of Dan Marino.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the one change that I would make.
Okay. All right. And then where would you rank if we went to 100? Would you get Peyton Manning in there?
He's probably top 20. He'd squeak in at the end.
Where's Eli?
Not on the list.
Okay. Highest paid quarterback of all time.
I mean, he beat Tom Brady twice in Super Bowls.
Giants, yeah.
You should have him number 1 actually because he's so good that he beat the best quarterback twice.
No, that's more of like a clock is always right. A broken clock is right twice a day type of thing.
Okay. There we go. All right.
I also feel like they included Dan Marino on this list because they have to be nice to him.
I just feel like Dan
Anytime
Marino.
you're making a list, you have to be like, Dan Marino, you were great. To remind people that he was good.
I'm going to find a Dan Marino highlight tape and I'm going to tweet it out because Dan Marino was fucking filthy. And unfortunately, his career didn't go the same way. He also had the unfortunate ending of the worst playoff performance, I think, ever for his last game. So that's also a problem is that like people remember Dan Marino, like people in their probably early 30s, even our age probably remember like their one big memory of Dan Marino is his last playoff game against the Jaguars. I'm going to pull it up. It's actually like the saddest thing to watch too because Dan Marino was one of those guys where like once his legs went, it was just kind of like it was tough to watch.
He bounced back nicely though in Ace Ventura.
So he won actually his second to last game against the Seahawks in the playoffs. His last game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Miami Dolphins lost 62-7, and he went 11 for 25 with 2 interceptions. It's sad. That's a sad way to go out. So, and like I said, like if he has, I don't know, if luck goes a different way for him, and he has, an awesome defense and a great running back at the end of his career, who knows?